Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to Ask Me Agency. My name is Taylor Highbloom, and I'm so excited to be back with another one of these events. I love doing them, and I'm the marketing content coordinator at Agency Zoom. I just wanted to introduce you guys to Andrew Ryan with Hertvik Insurance Group and Jason Walker with Agency Insurtech, and I'm going to have them each do a little introduction and tell you a little bit about themselves. So if Andrew, you want to start.
Yeah, so like Taylor said, my name is Andrew Ryan. I'm with Hertvik Insurance. We are a SIA master agency in Northern Ohio, and been with them for 3 years now. So, Jason.
I am Jason Walker. Happy to be here today. Thanks for the opportunity, Taylor. I lead Agency Insurtech, which is, I hate to say consultancy, but it's a firm that helps insurance agencies and technologists come together.
Amazing. So today's topic is all about digitizing insurance, and we had some of our followers write in with some questions, but we also wanted to put some questions together for you guys that we think that people could benefit from hearing some of your insight. So the first question is, we know that technology and innovation are two very important factors to consider when it comes to revolutionizing the insurance industry. In your guys' opinion, what have been the greatest perks and benefits of going digital? We can just have like an open discussion about this too. Whoever wants to start and then bounce off of each other.
I can start. So I've been working with agencies across the country and really trying to figure out how we back into solutions that help solve problems. And we don't lead with the technology discussion so much. We lead with pain points and trying to assess what ultimately an agency can improve. And so through that process, and it's been eye-opening for me over the past couple of years, is realizing that it's not always just the technology piece that agencies are trying to solve. They come into that discussion with disparate systems and solutions, as well as processes and workflows. And so what they're trying to achieve is really a shift in mindset and skill set within their team, and then the same to be applied to their customers. So what can we do to just provide a better experience for our employees and our customers that helps them efficiently drive through the interactions that we have on a daily basis, conversations, understanding information, and then ultimately there's usually some technology that you can put on as a layer to help enable that. And so the biggest thing I think that I've seen is that change in skill set and mindset, because we've adapted to some technology, but continue to double down on that human experience to make it that much better between agents and customers.
Yeah, so my answer is very similar to Jason's. That on top of it, I think, and I think Jason will probably agree with this, a lot of our use of technology, we try to use it to amplify our people rather than replace them. Yes. So allowing our people to stop doing tasks that technology can do and focus more on our clients. And just using this automation or all these APIs to have data flow easier. So I think, like Jason said, like there's definitely a shift in mindset, and also like really allowing us to kind of grow that relationship with our client. I think a lot of people get scared with technology, but I think that this is kind of allows us to build a stronger relationship with our clients.
Exactly. And honestly, at the end of the day, it's all about just getting things done as efficiently as possible. And as you guys have talked about improving that client experience, how is going more digital just improve the overall customer experience, like in the biggest way?
So for us, we've done a couple of things. So like Agency Zoom has helped that with some of the outreach, and especially with the service pipeline rolling out, kind of automating a lot of this stuff, which now has to be very manual. So it allows us to have deeper conversations with people and take more time on issues that need the human touch. And at the same time, we have like other technology partners which use analytics to help us steer towards the clients who need us most, or either who like us most and want to sell more to, or maybe are most dangerous of leaving us. So using technology like that, and like I said, just really steering us towards the clients that need us most.
Yeah, and I think just to complement that is that always on, always there mentality. And I've heard agencies joke about it too. They're like, you know what, my customer doesn't always want me in their face. However, they may want to be able to perform some interactions without my assistance. And so from the perspective of the customer, to be able to do things on their timeline, their agenda, and when it's not necessary to always have that human in front of them, to make sure that there's something that's enabling the next process of communication or interaction together. So that's, I think, what I've seen most.
Exactly. And I think especially with COVID now, it's kind of changed people's mindset a little more. But have you guys seen any major challenges along the way with going more digital? Obviously, like it makes things more efficient, but if there's any challenges that you guys have come across, we'd love to hear them.
From my perspective, adding additional technology, innovation, solutions, and there's tons of them that are out there. It also opens us up to more security challenges and liability. And we know that cybersecurity has been on the tops of everyone's minds. There's questions as to its effectiveness and what does it truly protect. But when you're thinking about adding additional solutions and probably perpetuating more of the disparity challenge that we have, you have to start thinking about, what type of data is passing back and forth. Am I making sure that's done in a protected and secure environment? So it's really elevated the discussion around liability, cybersecurity, and those become the new challenges as we continue to adapt to what we're doing, which is, even communicating from a digital perspective.
Mm-hmm.
For our agency, on definitely cyber, I think is a big deal. Something else we ran into is like trying to avoid the shiny object syndrome. Like there's like 5 billion tech companies which all think they can work with us. So we really found that, like, especially for, and I'm sure Jason can kind of attest to this, but as a broker, the technology that's focused on brokers, the most successful ones have like Agency Zoom. The people have background in an insurance agency or with an insurance company. It's not just some kids in California who came up with some tech product and are like trying to fix a problem which may or may not exist. So I think utilizing the technology, which is built by people with experience in our industry, has been really helpful for us. I mean, we went through some pain where we tried to use products which didn't quite fit. And we landed in a good spot now, but it took a little bit to get here.
Exactly.
Yeah, and actually, if don't mind, just on that, so I am involved with Agency Zoom's Customer Advisory Council, and I will say that when I sit in those discussions and the agencies come together to talk about what's next and places to pivot, something that seems to always resound in its core is adoption and usage. And when you have a good core technology that can drive excitement within an organization, it overcomes that challenge of what some people say is, I have too much and I actually don't want to adopt the next thing that's in the organization. But with platforms like Agency Zoom and hearing that feedback from the advisory council on, it helps get us set for the day, and it helps to invigorate us from the perspective of, each one is kind of competing in a friendly way because we can see everything in one dashboard. Those types of features and functionality, no matter what technology you're talking about, helps overcome that challenge of adoption and usage.
Love to hear that. We have a question from one of our followers. Along the lines, just a little bit different from the other ones, but do you guys prefer texting, emailing, or calling potential prospects or just your clients in general?
So I am biased. Like this sounds weird because I'm a millennial, but like I like phone calls because I feel like you can get so much more done in one conversation. It drives me nuts to like sit there and have to like wait for them to get back to me when it's like, I'm sure we've all had those back and forth email exchanges that like take 3 days to get what one phone conversation would have accomplished. But to be honest with me, COVID made me like really enjoy, like I like these video calls, you know what I mean? Especially with like a lot of clients who I didn't necessarily, maybe I've never met before. Like we would set up these Zoom calls and like meeting them. But once again, like I'm dealing with commercial clients, so there's a little more in-depth conversation that's needed there sometimes. So a little bit biased, but.
I have my phone on mute currently for this, but I will say that texting comes in a strong second when you're stuck on certain conversations from a B2B perspective, but you need to answer someone else. So having that texting capability and knowing that businesses are becoming more accustomed and it's an accepted norm now, which I appreciate, because to your point, Andrew, anything that can get us more of that instant gratification, in addition to having just that one-to-one human conversation, texting falls in a close second on what I appreciate as far as ways to communicate.
I agree with you guys. I'm honestly more inclined to answer a text than a phone call sometimes. So it just
True.
depends on the day, honestly.
If you had voicemail up there, that would be like, I never listen to voicemails ever. I refuse.
Same. I avoid it.
My voicemail box has been full for like months, honestly.
Yeah.
Next question is, what would you say is the greatest competitive advantage from going digital?
I'm going to go back to a better customer experience. And I say that because even if your entire customer experience is still manually driven and human, the digital side, the technology side took care of all the mundane tasks that we don't want to do anyway, so that it just allows us to be much more in front of our customer. And as we continue to watch agencies, whether they started in personal lines, we're seeing the migration more and more into commercial and benefits. There's a level of interaction that still needs to be human. So the digitizing portion just kind of helped us double down on that relationship with those customers. So yeah, that's kind of my take. I don't know what you think, Andrew.
I do like that. Obviously, that was very similar to what we talked about earlier. I think the ability to scale for us is huge. Everything that we do now with technology, like, we try not to waste any time on something that only fixes something once, like every single solution we work on, it's made to be done over and over and over and over again. So I think having the ability to scale and do things at scale, which we never would have been able to do previously, like connecting right to our referral partners, pulling in information on clients, getting them quoted before our salespeople even see them, like that kind of stuff, even 5 years ago would have been nearly impossible. So the way technology is evolving, there's so many possibilities.
And I will say maybe something some people may not want to admit is that they've gained maybe a half day back or a day to themselves. So we've seen kind of, these stories popping up in the press talking about the 4-day work week now and being able to have some time to family, vacation, and things like that. So I think that's a benefit. And sometimes we may not want to admit that because we're all business owners or in this space, but it's also doing that, which adds a bit more back to the personal lifestyle.
Minus people like me and you, Jason, who are actually building this stuff, and then you end up spending an extra half a day.
That's a good point.
And then this question is geared more for Andrew. What particular features in Agency Zoom have allowed you to successfully digitize your process at your agency?
Man, there is so many things. I'll start with the service thing. Like, ever since that rolled out in beta, we've been using that, and like we utilize VA. So like Jason mentioned earlier, and that I didn't even touch on, but like how it helped us standardize processes. Like we have all these people with a ton of experience, but everyone does something like slightly different, and none of those things are wrong, but we're able to create the most efficient process and create, like, it just makes training people and onboarding people easier as well. So that's huge. And then on the sales functionality, like I said, so like we pull in all these leads from our partners and then plug them into a Raider, dumps them back into Agency Zoom, and all that stuff is done without a human touch, and it's something that I don't even know how we would operate without that connection. So both of those I think are huge. There's a million other things, but there's a ton of even current clients and onboarding current clients and that kind of stuff, that a lot of extra touches, which like people think like we literally are typing out these emails to them and it's automated. And it seems like so personal, even though it's not. So there's every little portion of Agency Zoom helps us out, I think. So
love to hear that. Agency Zoom makes your life easier. That's what people need to get out of this right now. And then, of course, this is the last question, but you guys obviously know this, that insurance agents and technology haven't necessarily been the fastest of friends. So what would you say to anyone that might be hesitant to adapting to new technology, just because they may not know much about it and they're just scared?
There's definitely there's some generational gap challenges, and something that I've noticed while consulting agencies is there will be people in our discussion that will say, to be fair, I've been doing this for 25, 30 years, and I already know the places that I need to go to place this business or to do certain tasks, that I appreciate the fact that there's a technology to do that. However, my own intuition wins out and I can prove it. And so I think a way to take that and to turn it into a positive is, one, say you're absolutely right to those that maybe are just not apt to adapt, and say, you're absolutely right about your intuition. The decisions that you made for this business over the past 25 to 30 years have allowed us to continue to succeed. What we're now trying to do is take everything, your wisdom, your successes, and make sure, to Andrew's point, that we can scale it. And a technology can borrow from the capacity that you've brought to this organization over these years, and then make sure that everybody else that continues to follow is also going to do it the ways that you've established. And our technology can achieve that, but it's based on the power of what you've done for this agency. I think we have to credit those that have leveraged intuition for so long because there weren't technologies available, and make sure that that's paid forward to those that are following in their footsteps.
Yeah, and I think I couldn't have said that better myself. The generational gap definitely exists. I'm kind of on the younger side for this industry, so it's funny for me, like Kat from Agency Zoom and Raga from Tarmac, like these people are like literally some of my best friends now. You know what I mean? And it's like that. But it's funny because these, like I said, these companies have a broker background, so it's not like some insurtech that is trying to replace us. You know what I mean? It's trying to like amplify what we already do. So I think having that mindset of like, oh, this isn't going to take away my job, it's going to help me do my job better, I think it's huge, to Jason's point.
Perfect. Well, I love talking to you guys today, and I'm sure our viewers loved hearing some of your guys' insight. And we will be doing another one of these live streams very soon. But I just wanted to say thank you guys for your time, and I appreciated speaking with you both.
Thanks.
Taylor. Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you.